Looking at Fisker stock, it's actually extremely shorted in my opinion, and there's potentially going to be a short squeeze play happening. Now, I'm not saying to chase short squeeze plays in terms of investments, but I just want to let you know that potentially there could be a decent run up, potentially. It's not a guarantee though. Quick disclaimer though, not a professional, not a financial advisor. This is all just my opinion. It's not advice. So please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. Now, the reason why I'm stating this specifically in terms of is it extremely shorted is because we had a downward trend resistance line that I've showed in the past that if we broke through it, I thought we were going to have a good run up, at least a decent one, but it was an okay run up. It wasn't what I was expecting, or we would consolidate at like technically worst best case, which it was a small consolidation period. It wasn't technically nothing. And then obviously worst case would be we would drop. Now, granted, we did probably drop with the market, but this was a pretty steep drop where, yes, I know the stock is pretty decently shorted at 16% floated shares as of April 15th, 2021. But I was like, this is pretty massive. This is probably an increase in shorted positions, which if you look right here in terms of the finance side, Fisker stock, shorted percentage of floated shares as of April 30th, 2021, it is at 23.53%. That is massive. The reason why that's massive for two reasons. First reason is it's above 20%. Once you pass 20%, you reach, the stock is in extremely shorted territory. So now the stock is extremely shorted. Not even just that. If you go back into the April 15th, 2021 data point where it was at 16.53%, I think, roughly, or 16.25%, somewhere around there, that makes an increase of 7 to 8% shorted positions, percentage-wise. That is massive. That could explain why it was massive drop overall. Now, did they cover? Potentially. But if they were to cover, I think it would be more of a run-up because, so for the following thing. So when hedge funds or whoever's shorting the stock, when they short a stock, let's just say they short it here, they're anticipating to buy it at a lower price so they could pocket the difference. Now, the reason why it's a benefit when you're in extremely shorted territory, yes, it did suck in the past, but when the stock goes up, it's more likely that one or like a few hedge funds will decide to cover their shorted positions, to cover their losses, And then what could happen is it could be a domino effect where if hedge fund covers here, then you'll have a run up because what happens is they'll buy back those shares, right? And then when they buy back their shares and they have that mini run up, then another hedge fund could like hypothetically panic or just decide to cover their losses and say it's not worth it. It could drop lower in the future, but we just don't want to pay the fees and interest and all that stuff. So then they cover, and then so on and so forth. So you could have a run up where you saw right here in the past where it dropped and then had a run up from, where was it? I think that this was roughly around, if I can move camera, roughly around $8.94 to $22 or $23. Now, I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen. Personally, it's hard to tell, so I would not bank on a run up like that, but I would say at least a decent run up once coverage has happened. Now, the question is, how soon will this happen? It all depends. It depends on the risk tolerance of these hedge funds or whoever's shorting. Once they cover, that would be in play. Now, like I've stated in my last video, above all three moving averages, MAC lines in technically negative, so it is bearish. So I'm anticipating personally it'll be consolidating for a little bit, and then we would see some run-ups. But I just wanted to make you aware of the shorted positions because this is extremely shorted. This is pretty good information to know that there is going to be some coverages soon. So just to make you aware. Hopefully you liked the video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, consider dropping a like. It does help out the channel, so thank you so much for that. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. And if you like videos like this, like my overall content, and if you want to see other financial videos, consider subscribing so you can be notified when I do upload those videos. And that's basically it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.